Hello everyone. Welcome to Get Inspired with Joyce. I am your host, Joyce Janako. Thank you for joining us again on Get Inspired with Joyce. We are pretty excited today to have you on. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people pretty much doesn't talk about. And I think it's crucial and so necessary, most especially for gospel artists, if you're a backup singer, if you're a soloist, praise team minister, or if you're a minister, if you're a pastor, or even a motivational speaker or a leader in any kind of way, it's so important to talk about voice health. And I've been in the choir for a while, and until I met this amazing woman, I did not know, actually, that you can damage your voice by overusing it or stressing it. This amazing woman of God, she loves the Lord. She's trained in music with a concentration on voice. She has performed as a professional singer with the Virginia Opera Association, musical productions. She has performed with gospel artists and several bands. And it's such a blessing knowing this woman of God. Please help me welcome Miss Angela Summers. Miss Angela?
Hello, Joyce.
Are you there?
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I'm
good.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am so excited.
I am excited. Like I said, voice health or voice basically is what we don't talk about. And as a minister, we use it a lot. We speak a lot, and motivational speakers, or even at your church, a youth leader or praise team, a choir member. And some of us, I know, like I said, I've never, until we started talking and we speak about, when we're talking about voice and training and coaching, I didn't know that you can actually damage your voice. So basically, to start, let me back it up for a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Angela Summers, and I'm a vocal coach in the DMV area. That's the Northern Virginia area, D.C., Virginia, Maryland area. I also Skype vocal lessons. Well, I've been teaching for over 25 years now. People look at me and say, no, you haven't. But actually I have. I have a beautiful, loving husband, Marvin, and a nice, loving son, Sean. He's 25. And so when I was a little girl, my mom, she had us all singing, my brothers and I, and we would go around all over the Tidewater, Virginia area singing and ministering in song. But she would always make sure before we went out there that those vocals were tight. So she would always make sure that every note was just right and we were breathing right. And I didn't realize that was preparing me for later on in life. And so I really developed a deep passion for singing. And I later went on to major in music at Norfolk State University with an emphasis in voice. And while I was there, I noticed, and over the years, I noticed that a lot of singers did not know how to sing properly. They were damaging the vocal cords. They weren't able to last throughout the service. They weren't warming up properly prior to having a concert or a service. And so I believe God has called me to help out those singers, as well as help them to be all that they can be. I've had a lot of students to lose confidence in their vocals as well, and I believe God has called me to help those singers.
Wow, awesome. So you said your mom will make sure that your vocals are in tune, and just to make sure they're right before you go out. Is she an artist too as well, or is she a choir member?
She was. Yeah, she passed away several years ago, but
I'm sorry
I still feel her. No problem, but I still feel her with me all the time, and so what she instilled in me, I try to instill that in others as well. But yes, she was a great singer, and she had a deep tenor voice as she got a little bit older, but she could really, really sing almost like Albertina Walker. People would call her Albertina Walker.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's great. So it basically runs in the family. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So great. So tell us, what is voice health? So I'm like, okay, voice health. I'm thinking, okay, all this umbrella is probably something huge. It sounds big. Maybe it is. I think it is. But what is it exactly?
Well, voice health, pretty much it means that you're taking proper care of your voice. You're singing from your diaphragm. You're learning the vocal cavity, and you're practicing good vocal habits. And, as I mentioned earlier, I noticed that a lot of singers, they were damaging their vocal cords because they weren't singing properly. They were singing from their throat, and they weren't breathing properly from their diaphragm area. They were getting hoarse. The throat was starting to burn, a lot of symptoms. They were having vocal difficulty. And so with that being said, because I was taught the proper way of breathing, I believe that they should know also, so that they can last, so that they can maximize their vocal abilities. So that's pretty much what vocal health is, not having any difficulty with your singing, but protecting your vocals, restoring it, preserving it.
Preserving it. So I guess one of my, it was a few months back, we had a program in church, and then the whole week I've been singing and singing and singing, and I was supposed to minister on Sunday. So I stressed myself out, I believe, the whole week, and on Sunday I couldn't do anything. So in that kind of situation, what did I do? Have I damaged my voice for that week, or how will you put it in your terms?
Well, it depends on how you stress yourself out. Did you stress yourself out mentally or vocally?
Vocally,
yes.
I was forced. I couldn't,
Well, I believe singing is half mental. And sometimes we can't sing to the best of our ability if we're approaching it incorrectly from a mental standpoint. But from a vocal standpoint, you can stress your voice out. If you're not breathing properly from your diaphragm and all of your talking or your singing is coming from your throat and your vocal cords aren't properly being lubricated the way they should be by that air, by that breathing process, then you can damage it. The vocal folds will get very, very dry, and then the next thing you know, you'll start burning, and then the hoarseness comes in. And that's very, 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 very important that you actually practice good vocal health and breathe, even if you're a speaker, breathing from the diaphragm area and not stressing out those vocal folds, because that will happen. You would just stress it out, and then it'll say, you know what, I'm not doing anything.
Not doing anything.
They're almost like little muscles. It's like a runner. If a runner just gets into a race and they actually don't warm up properly and exercise and warm up properly, then the runner won't run to their best ability. Same thing with the vocal cords. If you don't do those warm-ups and exercises before you actually have to sing or even speak, then you can damage your vocal cords. And a lot of singers, they don't do that. They don't warm up prior to singing. I don't care if you're the last person on the back row in the choir. You should still warm up before you get to church, so that your voice is nice and relaxed. And you want to always stay nice and relaxed in the vocals, even though you may be belting out notes, but it's not coming from an improper place. It's coming from a healthy place, from the diaphragm area.
And then another thing I do want to say, you said warm up before you go to church. I know sometimes in the morning, on Sundays we're rushing and we're like, let's go. We're almost late for service. And you have to go change if you have to be enrolled and all that stuff. And what is, how would I warm up? Because I'm like, okay, we have kids and we have all of that. When do I get to do that? Or how can I do that?
Yes. And when I first wake up in the morning, especially, on Sunday mornings, the first thing I do is I start warming up my vocal cords. Of course, I give thanks to my God for waking me up in the morning and all. But when I'm getting up and I'm going in the shower, and the best place for me is in the shower, a warm shower, because there's moisture, there's heat, and there's not cold or draft. And it's actually helping my vocal cords to get warmed up. And I'll start off with a simple And some people think you need to do all these vocalists and operatic stuff to warm up. And warming up, that's so boring. boring, but it doesn't have to be boring. And so I teach my students how to warm up and have fun warming up. I'm going in the bathroom. I'm running my shower. Yes. I can praise the Lord. I love you, Lord. Whatever it is, you can just, nice and easy. You want to warm up nice and easy gradually. You don't want to put too much pressure on the vocal cords, especially when you first wake up in the morning, because you can damage your vocal cords not warming up properly as well. So you always want to make sure you start off nice and easy. And then so you say you don't have time? Well, yes, you do. What are you doing when you're in the restroom? Who are you talking to?
Right.
So I just warm up while I'm in the restroom. If I've grabbed me something to eat before I go, I'll warm up while I'm in the kitchen. It takes me 5 or 7 minutes to get down the road to church. Within that short period of time on my way to church, I could have warmed up my vocal cords and be ready for sound check. And that's what I try to do. Every Sunday when I have to worship, I try to do that. And I encourage others to try to do that as well. Think about it a little bit differently. Don't use the song of preparation or your first song if you have to do a concert as your warm-up. But no, God expects excellence from us, and sometimes we don't give him excellence because we don't prepare ourselves accordingly,
Enough. Wow. Even your warm-up is I'm like, she can sing. I'm like, So even the warm-up is amazing. So that's amazing, though. That's interesting. If it's something you can ease into in the morning, you're waking up and you can gradually, like you said, do it and enjoy it. It's doable. So what would you say are the don'ts and do's of voice health, or just making sure I'm not stressing my voice? What are the do's and don'ts? Like, I know one of them, and I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it is wrong, and I thought it's the right thing, is I don't drink hot water. Like, I can do ice, anything. So I take everything straight. So I don't know if that's right, or what are the things that we can do to maintain our health?
Right.
Our voice,
now, some people, it's different things for different people, but there are some core things that you should not do, of course. As a singer, you have to think constantly about protecting your vocals. And as for me, I can't do a whole lot of yelling or talking really, really loud, because that causes a lot of harsh vibration on my vocal cords, and that'll tear me down really, really quickly. So I have to be careful of those things. I don't abuse alcohol or drugs. I've heard several cases where people who actually they smoke or they use drugs, even prescription drugs, prescribed or unprescribed. They're not really the greatest. And I know we have to use, some people have to use medication, but it's, important that you know what the side effects are for the medication if you have prescribed medication. And also, don't sing from your throat. You have to sing from your diaphragm area, constantly thinking, let me take a breath before I sing my next phrase. Let me breathe, or, after every sentence or after every pause. Let that air out. I take it in from my diaphragm area, but I also need to make sure I let it out, because there are some people who they know how to take it in, but they hold it, and they don't let the air flow through. So knowing that as well. Singing outside of your natural voice range. It's good to know your natural voice range. Some people are in choirs and praise and worship teams, and they're singing in a voice part that really isn't the best for them. My voice range is pretty wide. It can be, but I know that the high notes that I used to be able to hit, I can still hit them here and there, but I know on a long term, I need to stay true to my range. And so you normally find me in the alto as I get later. Not that I can't hit those notes and stay up there. I can, but not the way I used to, or not the way I'd like to all the time. So I'll stay now in the lower soprano, high alto range, and even some tenor, high tenor range. But it's so important for a singer to know what their voice range is and know their voice part. And some people can sing any and everything all the time, and it doesn't affect them. They think it doesn't, but sometimes it does.
Really?
Don't sing with your mouth closed. Yeah. Don't sing with your mouth closed. Some people, singers rather, they sing with their mouth closed, and it restricts the air, and it doesn't really do the voice any justice. So those are some things. I can go on and on, of course, but those are some.
I know you can. I know you can. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry. You wanted to say something?
And no, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, because since we're talking about that. I know you have several services that you offer. So talk a little bit. See, that's those are like amazing tips, but you can get some more. So I wanted to Miss Angela to kind of talk about her services and what she does. I know you do online lessons. So tell us a little bit about what you do in terms of your services that you offer.
Yes. Thank you for asking. I offer private voice lessons. I teach individual one-on-one voice lessons in the evenings, Monday, Tuesday evenings, and Saturdays, one-on-one sessions with students. I also Skype voice lessons for students who are not in this area, even in another country. If you're on the West Coast, that's not an issue. As long as you can Skype or video in, I can get you in as well. I also offer vocal workshops to choirs and praise and worship teams, just to add a little spark to their team or give them a different way of thinking about singing. I've recently had an opportunity to go to this church, and they sing a different type of music than I'm used to singing, but the fact that they were excited about knowing how to sing properly and knowing how to prepare themselves for worship and how you should practice, throughout the week and all of those things, offering those types of services as it relates to vocal workshops. I'm a singer at heart, so I sing. I love to sing.
Yes.
So I also offer background vocals. Sometimes people will call and say, "Can you come and sing background for me?" And I'll say yes, of course. And also they may need some studio work, so I'll go and help them with studio work as well. And I help to prepare their background vocals as well, artist development. There are a lot of artists that are, doing shows and singing, and they're losing their voice halfway through, and their audience is sort of disappointed. So I help them to preserve their voice, to restore their voice. I'll help with tour preparation. Say, for instance, you're getting ready to go on a tour with your group. It could be just around the corner. You're going from city to city within your state. It doesn't matter how big or how small. I can help make sure that your voice or your background singers or whomever's in your group that's singing can actually sing and preserve their voice so that they're not hoarse the next time they get to the next show or later on, to 3 days rather down the road, that their voice isn't tired, and show them things that they can do as a singer to help preserve their voice. There are a lot of cold climates, and you have to make sure you protect your vocals in cold climates. So I give them different kind of vocal tips that they can do, techniques and stuff for breathing, how to relax in the vocals, how to push if you need to belt things out from the right place, how to go up in the upper register and sing properly, how to go in the lower register and just resonate on those notes, all those things. And there are many, many more things that I can offer as a vocal coach as well.
A lot of good stuff. Yes. That's amazing. That's great. And I wanted to ask you, what has been the most gratifying thing about what you do? Like, what's the most gratifying thing? Like you've heard maybe or seen doing what you do. I know you've seen a lot, and God is just using you in so many ways. Yeah. What would you say is the most gratifying thing for you?
Well, as a singer, the most gratifying thing for me is just praising God. I love to worship Him. I love just giving back the gift that He's given me. I just love the Lord, and I always want to honor Him when I sing. I always want to let people know my testimony through my voice. And so that's been the most gratifying thing for me as a singer, that God has kept me. He's saved me for times just as this. And I'm thankful for that, because I know that a lot of people don't get this opportunity to do that. And so the gift that he's given me, I don't take it for granted. You know, the fact that I can sing and worship him and honor him with my voice, that is just gratifying. Now, as a teacher, I help a lot of people, solo artists with their projects, as I mentioned earlier, background singers, praise and worship singers, major recording artists, pageant winners, people have tapped into Broadway. That does my heart well. Even the younger students, you know, who are in elementary school or high school, and they come in and say, Miss Angie, I made all-state choir, or thank you, Miss Angie, I made all this, or I get the call, you know, or you know what, I did really well in my talent show, or I placed in my talent show, or I received that scholarship, Miss Angie, and I just want to thank you. That does my heart well. Or the little baby, not baby, but the little girl who, you know, just started singing, and she said, you know what, I sung my song in church, Miss Angie, and they liked it. I said, yes, that just does my heart so well. That's most gratifying. I love to see my students go on and do greater things, and that's why I do what I do.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. That's just great. That's a nice testament. Oh, that's awesome. I from what you're saying, Miss Angela, I hear a lot of passion. Your story is passion. I mean, I can hear what you do. You absolutely love what you do, and I like the fact that you want to pour it into somebody else, into people, into helping others. And I think that's what God wants us to do, not to use our gifts to ourselves, but to also be a blessing to the world around us. The Bible says that the world is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. And I think, you know, our gifts in us, that kinship that we have, the priesthood that we have, you know, just being able to just, even in what we do, and, you know, it's amazing. And I want you to, for someone who wants to launch out, someone who wants to start their own business, or someone who is a little hesitant and they're just maybe afraid or not sure where to start, please encourage someone out there, like just someone who's maybe afraid to move. What would you say to that kind of person?
Well, first I'll let them know that I've been in that place. And it wasn't too long ago, and I can just cry, just start thinking about it, because, you know, I would think, I knew that God called me to do this on a bigger level, and I was doing it, and I've been teaching for over years, you know, but I knew he was calling and drawing me to expand on this. But I kept sitting down on it. I kept thinking, are you sure, God? I don't have this. You know, I may not have the education that I want. I may not have that. I kept making excuses, and that's how the devil is very tricky. He'll play tricks with your mind and make you think that you're not good enough, that you're not called. But if you have a burning inside of you that won't go away, I'm trying to tell you that's how it starts off. If you're not really happy because you're not doing what God has called you to do, or you're not doing what you think you're being called to do for whatever reason, out of fear, out of you thinking you're not good enough, whatever it is, that I want to tell you right now that the devil is a liar and there's no truth in him. You need to just go and pray and ask God. And any area that you feel that you're lacking, I declare, if you give it over to God, he will let you know everything that you need to know. There's wisdom and knowledge in him. And I'd rather gain that and have that than anything else. And he will continue to give you everything you need to do that gift. And so I will encourage anyone today that's hesitant about starting their business or doing something that God has called them to do. I don't care if it's leaving their job, just because you're being comfortable And for me, staying in a comfort zone was one of my things. I'm comfortable over here, and I don't want any pressure. I don't want anybody to judge me. I don't want this. A lot of things can go through your mind that'll stifle you from doing what God has called you to do. But I want to encourage someone today that if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm not where I want to be. There's still some things he's calling me to, and I know he'll continue to do that until I leave this earth. But until I leave this earth, I want to continue to ask him, God, what would you have me to do? Help me to do it, because I can't do it without you. I can go out here and do all these things, but I don't want to do it without God. And so if you're nervous about it, pray and ask God, because I do it all the time. I'm nervous all the time. Every time I sing, I'm nervous, hands are shaking and everything. Seriously.
Yes, I am with you.
I do it anyway. People say, I didn't think you were nervous. Well, I was. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. And so I'm encouraging. If you've been thinking about singing, or if you know someone that's been thinking about singing or taking voice lessons or anything, you know someone that has that gift but they're afraid to use it, God has given me a gift to store confidence in that person and help them to get on track from a spiritual point of view. And that's one thing I love about what I can do. I can minister to people, and next thing you know, they broke down in my lessons, and I done tore them down, but I'm bringing them back up. I'm restoring them, because a lot of people, they've lost confidence in themselves. And so I'm here to help them, and I believe God wants them, your listening audience, and anybody that will listen to this going forward, to know that he is there for them. He called them. He gave them the gift. And so if he gave it to you, he's going to help you to do it. No one else can help you do it. Now, of course, we have to do our part. We have to study our craft. We have to learn from others. I'm not above learning from others. I listen to all kinds of singers. And I have to, because I teach all different genres of music, from opera singers to rappers who want to sing to Broadway singers, R&B, and I have to do that. But I want people to know that, if you're called to do it, don't sit down. The time is right now. Don't sit down on your gift. Because God wants us to pour it back into others. He don't want you to save it for yourself. It's like the person with the hidden talents in the Bible. They went and hid their gift. No, God wants us to use it. You know what? Next thing you to get more gifts and more gifts and more gifts. And you say, God, you gave me this. I was just a singer, but now I'm a songwriter. Or I was just a singer, but now I can play the keyboard. I was just I'm a nurse, but now I'm a doctor. At first I was just giving people a little advice. Now I'm a lawyer, or whatever it is. God will do it if you just let him.
Wow, thank you for that.
Don't get me to go in.
Preach. God bless you for that. I love you, Miss Angela. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
You too.
I need that. Even I need that. The time is now. Go ahead and just do it. So I want to say, what are some of the projects, that you have in the pipeline that you're working on and you want to share, or you want us to be a part of it? Now, all your information I'm going to put at the bottom of the show when we're done, when we start sending on social media. But I kind of want you to maybe, if you can share a few of your projects that you have in the pipeline that you want us to be a part of, and how can we be a part of it?
Well, right now I'm focusing on educating my students, and I'm going around to different churches, and it could be the smallest church or the biggest church, but that's what I'm focusing on right now, and promoting vocal health. I really don't have any immediate personal projects that I'm working on right now, but I have a heart for children, and so every now and then, once a month, I'll try to get someone that I know is interested in singing, and they don't have any money for lessons and stuff like that, and I'll grab them, or they may have money or whatever. I just have something about them that just stands out, and I say, you know what? Come on over here and let me teach you. Let me pour into you what others have poured into me. And so I'll grab that youth and I'll bring them over. So my heart going down the road is to have a nonprofit organization, and I'm working on that, that people can give to these students, high school or middle schoolers that don't have any money or just can't afford to go off to school and do certain things. They can pour into these students and give them money so that they can take lessons, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from me, so they can go on those auditions and stuff like that and be able to receive scholarships and money so that they can further their education. So that's where my heart is, pouring back into the youth.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Wow. So how can we keep in touch with you on social media? Keep in touch with you, contact you on social media or whichever means that you have.
Thank you. My email address is Summers Voice. That's SOMERS Voice, VOICE, @gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook at Summers Voice LLC, and you can find me on Twitter at Sing Vocal Coach. That's at the @ Sing Vocal Coach. And I recently, I'm getting my son is helping me, so I need to get a little bit better about social media. But I've recently joined Instagram, and I'm Summers Voice on Instagram. So you may see one picture. But I am planning to start doing those things a little bit more.
Okay, good. We're just starting, so it's okay. We'll keep adding pictures, right, Miss Angela, right?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
That's cool. See, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I know we talked about it. I asked you downstairs the other day, and you're like, yes, I'm going to come. So I really appreciate you coming on the show and being a blessing. Coming here to be a blessing, inspiring us, inspiring me. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So, guys, that's all the time we have today. I hope Miss Angela's story has inspired you in some way or another. I hope you've received some tips about voice health, how you can nurture your voice, take care of your voice. And until next time, you've heard it. Don't limit yourself. You have greatness within you. God has predestined you for great things. So as long as you have passion for something, you can start small. It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to have all that money in your account to actually move forward with those things that is pressing in your heart that you believe God has called you to do. Just to make a move and ask God for direction. And it will show way for you, will open doors that you don't even expect. Remember, we were created by God and for God, Colossians 1:16. I want to thank you all for joining us on the show today. And I do see someone that actually called in, and I want to say thank you to who that person is. We really love you. Thank you for being a part of the show today. I'm your host, Joyce Ajanaku. Miss Angela, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce, and thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.